Happy weekend, everyone. Happy to see so many people here. And we've been experimenting a little bit with our timings for weekend talks. So the response has been great, and we're really excited about this. So, yeah, for this session, we have Rishabh Bhatia sharing tips and tricks to use in Lottie Animation to take your work to the next level. I'm sure most of the people in this space would already be familiar with him and his work, but nevertheless, I'll introduce him a little bit. Rishabh is a self-taught artist and he's skilled at creating visually captivating explainers, geometric shape animations, and Lottie animation. He's also known to experiment a lot with glows and gradients and like get stunning results from it. In this talk, he will be talking about using masks and trim paths effectively in Lottie animation, using gradients in Lottie, and also the difference between masking in Lottie versus After Effects. He'll also be talking about Colorama, using Colorama in After Effects. And as a bonus, he'll give you some tips on how to optimize your workflow. Um, yeah, and before we start, I'd like to talk a little, just a brief introduction about motion sickness in India for the new faces out there. So this is a community that was started in 2022 with the need to find other motion designers across the country. And now we're a growing number of motion designers from India with the goal to connect and bring to spotlight the many talented creators that are out there. And currently, we exist on Instagram where we post exceptional motion design work. We have a YouTube channel where we upload all the recordings of speaker sessions. We're also on Discord, which is a small community where we discuss everything motion related. And recently, we also jumped onto LinkedIn where we post all updates. So do follow us on these channels so that you don't miss anything. All the links to these will be shared on the chat for the duration of the call. And this is a recorded session. So, in case you missed anything, you can always go to our YouTube channel and check it out again. Also, between the sections, we will keep some time for question and answers. So, if you have any questions, you can keep them ready. You can type it out in the chat and we'll address it during the Q&A session. So, yeah, I won't take up any more time and I'll let Rishabh take over.
Thank you so much, Aishwarya. Hi, everyone. I'll just share my PPT kind of thing that I've created, but it's not not the best one, but yeah, works for me. Let me know if you guys can see the presentation.
It's visible.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see.
Perfect. Thanks, Siva. So, hi everyone. I'm Rishabh. I'm a 2D motion designer. I usually create explainer videos for SaaS companies, right? And other than that, I usually work with LottieFiles, and I'm in love with experimenting with gradient and glows. As you can see, there's an animated version in itself, right? So I'll just go with the slide by slide thing. So this is what I do. This is some of the snippets from my previous work. And I have been fortunate enough to work with amazing studios like Post Office Studios and Irregular Alliance and many more, right? I have worked with, I worked on the projects for PhonePe, Nykaa, IDFC Bank. And recently I got one of a good client that's 1% Club. And I've been working with them and shipping them the Lottie files, right? So moving forward, my journey in the 5 years is, okay, I started as a graphic designer in 2019. So it's the time when I just completed my schooling and I was in the transition to go to a college, right? And I'll tell you what degree I've done, right? So and I was in 2019 I started as a graphic designer, so pretty basic with the Photoshops and stuff, using templates and learning how to make graphics in the Photoshop, right? And once I started with it, I was getting a good client queries, and one of them then asked me how can you design a logo as well. So that's when I got to meet Illustrator. So, okay, I researched a bit around the net, okay, what more tools are there to learn, right? At that time, and within the 2019 to 2020 phase, I started using Illustrator as well. Worked almost for a year and a half. Then in 2020, I also got another tool, that's Premiere Pro, right? So in Premiere Pro, like it's pretty well known for video editing. So almost a year or again a year or something, I worked as a video editor. At that time, I uh, worked with few startups as a intern, and sometimes it's a part time intern as well. Right. So it's like there's always an upskilling every year. Like I used to like learn at least one or two skill or the other addition that I can offer. In 2021, I came across within the, like, of course, when I'm understanding the Premiere Pro, I also came across After Effects. Then I started using, like, watching tutorials on YouTube, starting to get, okay, what is exactly a motion designing thing. So from 2020 to 2021, I was mainly marketing myself as a video editor. But while I was doing it, I was just learning animations and After Effects, so that I can like make more better quality work and cater to my clients. Right. In 2021, I started with a lot of things. Like I started as a 3D motion as well. I went into VFX, sound production, everything. But at that time, I understood, okay, I have to niche it down to some extent, because like there was like a 4 month period that I was like learning everything altogether. And at the end of the 4 month, I was like, I'm okay. I know 4 softwares right now, but I can't offer a client a full-fledged project, or I can pitch myself out. So at that time, I understood, okay, it's better to work with a specific set, right? And around 2021 itself, I also happened to connect with F9 Collective. Like one of my college senior introduced me with F9 Collective, right? And I would like to mention his name. He is Prashant Jain, right? So once I went into F9 Collective, I started, okay, I seeing other people's work, right? And I'm always grateful and thankful to Amin and Vishal, because these guys were the best to guide me up at that time, right? And even like my initial thought was like, these guys are doing crazy work and they would be very busy across that time, but still, like the best part, like these guys responded to me, and it becomes like a piece of a hope for me. Okay, I can learn something new, right? I have few people who can guide me up, right? And rest is the complete community. Like whenever we are having any issues or any trouble with the After Effects, like everybody knows how After Effects works, right? So at that time, I was like pushing out my things in the community and having there. And I think in 2022, uh, yeah, 2022 or 20, yeah, in like after 1 year of F9 Collective, right, I became one of a admin member at F9 Collective. So it's like we are building something that pushed me a lot to learn more, and now altogether we are pushing everyone to learn more, right? So I'm always grateful to these few people in my life, and of course the initial client that came up to me, right? I also mentioned his name as well. He was Tintu from Post Office Studios. So that was my very first project that I officially did as a like a with a studio as a freelancer, right? Previously it was just like small gigs and kind of stuff like that. I'm working again. I was working at that time with a few companies and tech thing as well, right? But it's like the freelance thing that helped me a lot was from Tintu, and specifically the Post Office Studios, right? And something about what I've done, like as a in a span of 5 years. So I have been into multiple internships. I have catered to multiple part-time jobs, even few full-time as well. Even in 2021, oh no, 2022, I was working as a full-time with a creative studio named Space Kayak. So I was handling a lot of LottieFiles animation at that time, right? Because the Space Kayak studio, like I'll just give a quick intro about them. So it was a studio who was catering to like giving UI UX to various clients from like 0 to 1 shipment thing. We were catering to multiple like rebranding as well. So at that time, I was able to pitch in multiple motion ideas and multiple motion thing in the whole ecosystem at that time. So it was wonderful 1 year, and after that, I started working as a full-time freelancer. So that's been the journey till 2024, right? And I have been into like Web3 ecosystem for a while, like working with Web3 clients and companies. And it's like I'm switching, or like I'm available for both the people, like for Web2 and Web3. Though it's not like a lot of difference, just like the one is working in the crypto market, one is the other, like how usually you see the world, right? So I'll just showcase what clients and the projects I've worked with. So these are the like a number of clients I've worked with. You might have recognized few of the icons and the logos, right? So recently, it's like as I mentioned about the 1% Club in Post Office Studios, of course. The PhonePe was another project. Nykaa was another project. Space Kayak is one of my like a full-time company. I was an intern at AI Crowd back then, right? And these are like the projects I've worked with. And the special part about my journey is like I am an engineer officially on records. So I haven't taken any design degree. So it's all about the engineering that was happening at my college. I'm from Jaipur, by the way. If any one of you guys belongs to Jaipur, feel free to ping me and we'll happy to meet you guys. So meanwhile, my engineering degree and my courses went up, and again, I started my BTech in 2019 itself. So it's the same journey. Like I started working as a graphic designer as well as I started learning becoming an engineer. So like just the thing about engineering, it didn't give me insights about how to become a graphic or a motion designer, but it helped me to given a mindset that okay, we can figure out. And even how the Vicky Kaushal says that whenever an engineer sees or something, he can always say like I can make it better. So I had this one of an instinct in my head that okay, what more we can do and how we are collaborating. So this is a brief intro about myself, right? And just to add, like I like since I don't want to waste my engineering degree as well. So with the Lottie files that I mentioned earlier, so I often tend to work with developers in integrating the animation that I have shipped to them. Because as a designer, my role doesn't end just after giving them the file. My ultimate goal is to make them get implemented. Because okay, I'll cover that topic in the upcoming slide. So I think we can get started with the first topic of the evening, and that's Lottie files. So anybody of you have ever heard Lottie files before? We can like unmute yourself and like have a quick talk. Anyone would like to?
Yeah, actually, we work as in a check. We work as a product designer. LottieFiles, we used to work this. So we make
Awesome.
the Figma. They have plugins right now, so we started doing this.
Right.
Yeah, and and Lottie files are like more suitable for UI UX stuff, right? So the file size and everything is
Yeah.
more optimized for this.
True.
With
So
this.
true. Right. So just to give other people a context about the file size. So let's say if you guys have to ship a like a logo animation, and in a video or a GIF file, it will take almost at least a 1 MB file minimum, right? But when you ship the same thing into the Lottie, it becomes like 100 KB or something like that. Even it could be lesser than that too. It's like almost like a 10x variation in the file size it is. I'm sorry for the background noise. So yeah, I'll just start with the Lottie file thing. So Lottie file is basically you see, and like you guys have seen the SVG, right? If you just animate the SVG with multiple like position, rotation, and other properties, it becomes a part of a Lottie file, right? It's like the layman language. So Lottie file have like a two formats to offer. One is JSON, so it's basically a JavaScript file, and another one is a dot Lottie. That's like a native extension to the Lottie itself. So usually, like Lottie files are used by designers, developers, UI UX guy, as Vibha said, right, and even Android and iOS application. And if you want to like optimize your website to the fullest, website devs use it too. So it becomes like a crucial part when you're putting out these things. So the problem is that LottieFile comes with a lot of restriction. It doesn't work like how you add effects in After Effects, right? You are putting gradient ramp, you're adding glows and everything. So it doesn't really like take up those plugins because that is a part of an external environment, like from the After Effects. So I'll just like start my After Effects and I'll walk you through it how we can optimize and like make a Lottie simple as possible, right? And also I'll be covering like couple of the things that it's like an advanced techniques regarding the masking in the Lottie files. So uh, basically it's like how you work in After Effects, like how you add a mask in After Effects doesn't really work with the Lottie files. It's like the structure is slightly different. So I'll quickly show the screen and show you that too. Yeah, I'm just switching the screen. Let me know if you guys can see that. Yeah, can you guys see my After Effects?
Yep.
Perfect, sounds good. So, and this is like very simple like Lottie file that I'll be making right now. So what I did is, okay, let me just remove rest of the things from here. Right. So this is just a like a curve layer, like nothing crazy in this. You guys can like create anything that you guys would like to create, right? So I've just like added multiple points here and there and like just tweaked it to have a curve, and that's it. Okay. So it's like this is simple as that. Okay. On this side. So I wanted to add a trim path. So how everybody does add a trim path in LottieFile is like we go to the top add, or if you want, you can click on add from the content menu and you click on trim path. Simple as that. And you set the end in the start value. Right. Shifting it before and simple. We easy is we put it to 1 second. We went inside. We like just tweak a bit on the curves to give it a property, and yeah, that's how I simple make a trim path animation in After Effects. So if I want to convert the same thing into Lottie, so there's a Lottie plugin basically. So that's what we have. That's what we have as a LottieFile plugin that's available on LottieFile.com for free. You just have to install that plugin. You have to log in with your ID, basically, right? And you get the multiple pre-comps and the comps visible to you here. So I'll go to the first one like that I want to render as a Lottie thing. We click on the render button and it's done. So now you get a Lottie. So if you guys see clearly, the path is moving perfectly like how you wanted or you're seeing in the After Effects preview, right? But the problem happens with when you add masking on top of it. Okay, so I'll show you one example that I've already built, and let's go with that. So basically, it's a zero in space grow tech font. I've just like imported it from Illustrator, right? Or even like you can make it inside the After Effects as well. Just click on it and just click on the create shape from text, and you can get it done. Right. So the thing is, like how you usually do it, I'll just like make a fresh new as well to showcase what we did. Right. I'll make a fresh new comp here. It's called live and like zero Lottie. Okay. So we imported the Lottie stuff, like the design itself. And what I have to do, like generally how we usually add a trim path and the revealing text in this one is like we add basically a path on top of it, right? Like nothing fancy. So we try to set it up in some way that it covers the base area we increase the font, like the stroke thickness, and yeah, we are halfway good to go with the thing. Correct. But the problem happens is, no, this is not the problem. But the problem happens is like this is one, and if you would like to just make a duplicate one, you can even like just do the scaling reverse, and it would be sorted too. Let me make a new one only. Right. So like this is because like we don't need to worry about the area that is going out, because anyway we don't want it. We want to mask it with the base one, right? So, and if we add a trim path on top of it, right? I'll take the trim path from this place. Right. So we take our trim path from this place, and yeah, this works. Right. So we made it like for a 2-second thing, and it's like covering up the base. And so what we usually do, we connect both of these with the base layer, and it's good to go. Right. So now you can see the perfect thing that is happening as a Lottie, like not as a Lottie, but in the After Effects preview. So the refined version of the same thing is this, that, okay, I've connected one layer with the two thing, because that's a feature in After Effects from last year. But how Lottie works is, you want a separate layer, like you wanted to mask something on top of it, but you need to take a separate layer that, okay, so the thing is, the right part is getting masked with a base layer, and the other base layer is masked with another one. I hope I'm making some sense. Otherwise, just give me a couple of minutes. It will be all clear. Right. So we made this one. I'll just like bring this comp in the starting, so we can have a good preview. So we have this the trim path. So we usually what we do, we wanted to mask our trim path with the base. So we basically drag and drop with the web tool, and again we did the same thing. So now we have a trim path animation that's working here. One second, I think the color is getting off. Oh. So basically, like the blue ones are the trim path layers. So we mapped it with this one. Correct? So now thing is, if I render this up, let's see how Lottie would turn out with this one, right? If I click on this, so you see there's a problem with the Lottie here. Like our preview and After Effects is not same as the preview in LottieFile, right? And it's like the size you can see. Okay, I'll come back to the size as well, but let's cater the problem first. The stroke should be full at this point, because it is like we are not having any glitches when seeing it into the After Effects. But that's the problem with Lottie, because this is how we usually work with After Effects. Like we mask our object, like we mask one thing with another, right? Usually, and I wanted to trim path that should cover up just the part till the zero base, like the zero area. So it works and it's working in After Effects. So we are not doing anything wrong here. But in Lottie, the stroke is not getting filled up completely. You can see the side areas that are not good. And same thing we are doing it here at this point. It's just like a bit refined version because I made it earlier. So if you see, and even if I render this one, so it's like 0B, Lottie 02, right? So if I make this one, right, it still have the same problem that the stroke is not filled up completely, right? So what we do, like this is the problem that we have and how we can solve it. So there's another comp, like that's called rectified. I'll come back to it slightly in a minute. Let's fix out the Lottie that we created. So I'm just like making it quickly here. So it is still having the problem, right? Because what we did one thing wrong, and like it's not about the wrong thing, it's like how Lottie wants us to work is that this was the trim path, right? Trim 1 and trim 2. So if you see like it's going, I have to go in a bit technical side. These are the variable parameters at the moment that a stroke size is like the stroke is getting filled up. Plus, stroke can have a multiple variable stroke width, right? So Lottie is getting confused with the parameters. So what we have to do, instead of making trim part to be masked with the base, we mask our base with the trim part. We just have to reverse it up. It might look confusing at the start, but it's damn worth it. So what I did, I bought my base layer in the bottom, and it works like in Lottie, it works like that. The like whatever you're masking should go at the bottom, and whatever you have to mask with should go at the top, right? So now our base is at the bottom, so we'll map it up with the trim part 2 and with trim path 1. So if I just play like turn on the base layer thing, so now you see it still is the same like what we are seeing before. It's bringing out the same thing again. But now what happened is that our zero Lottie does not have any stroke issue. Right. It is completely filling up with the proper stroke, and the refined version I'll just show it right away. So it's already built here. So it's like the zero base 1 and base 2. Right. So my base is getting masked with the trim part towards the right, and my another base is getting mapped with the trim part towards the left. So if I now render this one, the rectified one, so it works the same, right? It doesn't have any issue, and it's like having a proper start and proper end. So this is the issue that we usually have. So in short, if I have to like summarize these pointers, in After Effects, we parent or we mask our trim path with the object, right? Usually that's the flow that most of the people use. Only in because it's like it's worth it because we are getting more benefit, like we are getting more control with us, right? We can we can add multiple like trim layers in After Effects, and we can have multiple colors of the trim path. Like if I have to add another layer with a different color, I can do it quickly with this kind of a structure. But if I have to do the same thing for this one, I have to make another like a 2-layer thing to be done in this one. It's a bit complicated. But for now, the issue we were creating is that in After Effects, we parent a layer like a trim path with the object. In Lottie, we parent our base layer with the trim path. So I'll just open like a quick window. Like if anybody have any question or want to
I wanted to ask you one thing.
Yes, please.
So this is the first, like I've only heard about Lotties a lot, but I've never like worked on it. So like the question might be stupid, so don't
No,
bother.
please.
So one thing is that I understood that we need the base layer to be masked, correct? But
Yes.
like the way you duplicated the trim path and just created offset and changed the color.
Yeah.
Similarly, you can do it with the base layer also, right? Because now with After Effects, you can use the same mask for multiple layers to, like, there's this you can just pick quick kind of an option, right? Where like you have one master layer which can be used as a mask for multiple layers.
Correct.
So does
100.
that work with Lottie also?
No, that won't work with Lottie. This is a feature with the After Effects only. So
Okay.
consider it like that. I also tell you a very interesting point. If you see all of my layers at this point having a different name. So consider it like this. Like if this is going a bit technical on the coding side. So consider these all as like a nameplate itself. Okay.
Okay.
But saying that 0 1 should be parented with trim path right. So that's what. But what if I make this as a 0 1 base 1 as well, right? So again, it will work same good in the Lottie side. But the problem it is like now we are saying in the coding language, this one needs to parent with right trim path right, And zero based on again needs to parent with trim path left. So that's like the issue with the code. If I render this up now, it will have an issue. And it doesn't. It's not having the issue, but most of the time it does. Because
So basically, naming the layers is also affecting your.
yes,
What if I just don't name anything? It's just like layer 1, 2, layer 3, 4. Like,
that works. It's
that
like
work. Okay.
having a different layer name is what they want.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
it's better to have like a unique name to each layer.
Got it. Got it.
Right. I hope that answers solves the answer.
Yes. Yes, it does. Thanks.
And also, like, just to like give you a quick thing, if I parent same thing with two here, right, it would not render properly. Let me just change one. Actually, let me do it here. Like, if I have to do it at this point, no, it would have again the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, you see,
So I basically should copy both the layers and offset
yeah,
it.
correct. So
Okay.
let's say in case you want to offset the layers in this one, the best way to do is that, let's say you want to copy the make the for both of them itself, you select all, you duplicate again, you bring everything in the top, right? And I usually like just change the layer color from this point because it gives a
Yeah.
bit different, right? And I'll just change the base color layer color, and I'll just offset it by some frames. And now it will have the
Understood.
so this is how it works every time, and it wouldn't have any issue in even making it as a Lottie file. It will come perfectly.
Got it.
Otherwise, the same problem happens that uh, like half of the stroke is coming out good and half of the stroke is not coming out good. So
Understood. Got it. Thanks.
thanks so much. Yeah, awesome. Anyone else have any question?
If any of you have any questions, you can unmute and ask, or you can type it out in the chat also.
Okay, I think I can move on to the next topic. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
So this is mostly about what I was catering about the Lottie files, right? So let's say what we have to like dive into a new one, right? So that's Lottie files and the Lottie gradients. Okay. So I hope I'm guessing like a lot of you must have tried to use gradient the same way that you try to use in After Effects, but a lot of time it gives you a restriction, right? So to solve that problem, we have a good option within the Lottie. So let's dive into it. Right. So if you see, yeah, let me just remove this. So this is I'm just like revealing like what I'm about to show. Right. So basically, this is one of like a circle with the multiple gradients, and it is like having a rotation effect into it. Right. This is usually what you guys see in the After Effect, right? But what if we wanted to make a Lottie of this itself? So is it doable or not? We are just having a quick look to check that out. Right. So main mask. If we see, the Lottie have multiple shading. Lottie has the layer blur as well, and it is working pretty well. It's a loop. So how do we make it? Is like I'll jump into that, and we can always like have fun with giving it an eye structure or something. But I'll just come back to it in a minute. So what we are doing basically, we created bunch of circles here. Like this is one of a very common technique that people are using in After Effects for creating like a unique gradient, right? So this is bunch of a circle only, right? But what we usually do is we add a fast box blur because that is more convenient and that takes less of your computation power and works pretty well, right? So everyone does that. So it's giving the same result, honestly, right? It will work the same way, and if I see it in After Effects again, it looks the same, like no issues at all. But when I render this out in Lottie, what happens is and I'm clicking on the render, the fast box blur doesn't work. It is masked properly, everything is working. There's a slight position change as well in the gradient, but it's not merging now. So the reason is that Lottie does not support fast box blur. Again, because it's the native After Effects thing. So I'm just like checking if you can guys see the After Effects screen, right? Perfect. So at this point, we just have to remove the fast box blur and add a Gaussian blur. So I'll just remove the fast box blur real quick in from the every layer, right? Yeah. And I'll just enable the Gaussian blur. The results are exactly the same, right? It's just that the value in the Gaussian blur is like almost 300, while if I add just the fast box blur maybe on the this one, it would work in, okay, let's say 68 itself. It's similar. So there's a difference within the value that you have to put in, but if you have to create a Lottie and if you have to like give uh, a special thing and out of a box from to your client, use this one, and this is like well tested work thing. So now again I'll add this into the render, and it works. Boom. So this is one of our technique, and what happens is also like the problem with this one or things sometimes happens is that if like currently you see there's a base fill as well. If I remove this one, so you see there's a alpha channel that you can see, like there's a very little thing. Also, like let me just like remove few to give it like a very clear differentiation what I'm talking about. So you see the gradient is working fine again, but you can see an alpha thing, like this is all like transparent at the moment. And if we render this one, right? So you see now it's an issue. Like now it is not having a like a proper gradient that we had before, but this is, are these colors slightly looking washed out in Lottie render? Not exactly, I would say. It's similar. It's slightly more precise as well. It's like there's a slight difference, but it's not washed out. It has having the same vibrance value, right? So we'll experiment with few more as well. Don't worry. So you see with the alpha thing here, like it's working fine at this moment, right? But when you see in the Lottie, it's not coming out good. So basically, the problem again, the Lottie is not able to cater like what is a dimension, like where the restriction comes in. And the same thing also happens in GIF as well. Like it's totally out of the topic, but the problem is the same. When you work like use gradient with opacity in GIF, it doesn't recognize the opacity value because the GIF is limited to 256 numbers of the colors, right? And it doesn't have any alpha channels. So basically now what we do, we turned on, like you have to be mindful when you're making such thing because these things can create a problem. And even if you see like there's a slight and towards the right, there's a issue, right? There's a slight alpha thing that's going on. So what I did, I added a base fill here. Base fill is nothing but just a good contrast or like a color that could merge and doesn't affect my colors a lot. So I added that and it works pretty well. So if you see with the terms of Lottie have a clear area that, okay, you have to restrict yourself within this part. And you see there's a circle mask. So these are the same itself. These both the circles are same. It's just that I added a base layer on the bottom. And again, just to like a point, like continuing to the point of Eba, if I wanted to like use the same circle here, that might cause an issue, right? Because if what if I just like make the circle down and like turn on the visibility, that wouldn't work. I mean, that will give you an error, right? So this is one, right, and it works pretty fine here. So yeah, that's one thing, and like this is the base one. So you can use the same technique to like add anything on top of it. You want to add a gradient on top of a logo, you are feel free to like use this technique to work on it. And even like the best part of this is this, that it is not giving very harsh shadows, right? So even if like another option to make gradient in Lottie itself is like you simply make a circle, right? And you add a gradient from After Effects itself. So this also works. It works pretty fine, right? It doesn't cause any issue. But it's like now if you want to move the gradient from this part, now there's a lot of keyframe that will get involved, because you have to use just these two handles now, right? I'll just open that up once. So now you have to like, let's say if you're using a like a radial one, now you have to use these two handle skillfully that it rotates properly, right? And you also would have faced this, that when you're using a position keyframe, like if I wanted to make it this way, and I have to put out 3 to 4 keyframes, like one at this place, like the starting, then one in the opposite area, and the third one here. So it, and if I just like add from this to this place, so it will just go in the shortest path. So the conclusion I was talking about, that After Effect position works in within the shortest path that they can travel with. They wouldn't go as a long one to cater to this point, like from this to this position. So sometimes it becomes a problem, or like a hectic task to like animate in this way. So that's when you can use this technique, and of course you can also like use the opacity thing at this place, that if you just wanted to showcase the green colors and to some extent, right? So you're feel free to like use that thing up. So it works pretty fine. Like you have to just set up how you are setting up the things itself, but yeah, you get the gist, right? So what I did, I added like one top of it. So if you see this, it slightly becomes like an eye to cater, right? So I have another combo of it, right? So if you see, what I've done basically here is that the base, like this is the same layer like from which we are coming from. I'm so sorry for the background noise, right? So this is the same 4 layers that we have here. I botted them into this one, and I like added a null. We duplicate the whole thing, and for the center of the eyes, we added a null too. So I can like control the eyes. This is very basic, like not fully refined one. But if I just add a position thing here, right? If I have to like just do like a bit of a thing, right? And yeah, and it again comes back to the center, and we quickly add few curves, right? Yeah. So this is what you see in your After Effects editor, right? And if you make a Lottie of this, right, it will still have the same effect. Everything would work pretty fine. So in case like you want to add your like a character, like I'm not saying as a complete character, but a characteristics to your website or animation within the Lottie, this is a pretty good way. And you guys are seeing the gray thing at the moment, because my thing was a transparent behind this, right? But you can always add a like a background color from this one to test it out in various scope. But yeah, uh, when you export this as a Lottie, you will get the transparent, just the icing here. So any questions from anyone on this point?
And
We have
just a
another
quick
few things.
question about this one. What was the
Yeah.
first null for?
Initially, the first one was to set up the ball itself, like the base one,
Okay.
right?
Okay, cool.
So I duplicated this altogether.
Okay. Okay, understood.
Like currently, this null is like not painted with. Okay, like if you see, this null is like painted with the seventh one. But later I
Okay.
changed everything with the eye thing. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I had another question also. So
Yes,
in
please.
the circle one with the gradients, you pre-comped all the circles, right? And then you set the base for the mask. Like there's just that one base.
Yes.
And so isn't that something that you can do with the masking trim path also? So if you pre-comp both the trim path strokes,
Right.
and you can use just one mask, right? Then like
That's really a good point. Yeah, please. Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, just saying like you wouldn't have to duplicate it every time you needed that mask.
Right, makes sense. So that we can do, but the problem is like it's like how you're adding the base one. Like, of course, if you know that you have to add multiple thing itself, right? So that's a good option to use. But the problem is that now you're again parenting. Like okay, let's do it right away. Okay. So let's say this is the one of a comp, right? Like I'll just like tell you the problem again. What happens like you are attaching a pre-comp with the shape layer, right? So pre-comp still have a trim path that is having a variability. But to make a trim path work in Lottie, we have to make the base static and जो हमारा वेरिएबल है उसको हम पेरेंट कर रहे हैं like base is getting parented with the variable, not the variable is getting parented with the zero. So I'll give you like a quick shot. Like what will happen is let me just do it in this one. Wait. So we'll just like keep one base with us for the purpose, and yeah. There's a construction going in my area, so yeah. I'm just checking, like, are you guys audible with that, the background noise, or?
Yeah, you're good. Like we can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. So, like, what you just mentioned is that these are the two things, right? If I just comp this, right, and so I don't have to like make another versions again, right?
Yeah.
So we get a trim pre-comp. We add multiple layers here as well. So let's say we change the colors again. Right. How does effect and pixels like caution the works with Lottie? No, I'll just one second. Shruti, so this is the only one effect that works with Lottie, like Gaussian blur works with Lottie. So, like, if I'm understanding your question correctly, like, how is this one is working? Because this is the only one that works with Lottie. If you had any other, like, so-called a preset, it won't work, or even like the effect won't work. I think fail can work to some extent, but other than that, is like nothing works. But basically, Gaussian blur is basically telling to give a spread, right, in the Lottie file to give the blur. So yeah, that's how it was working. So Aishwarya, if I'm correct, you are talking about this thing, and if I parent the same thing with the previous one, it should work out good, right?
Yeah.
So let's parent it up. So it's working out fine here, right? And let's render it up. It's REC2. Okay. So now you see again the problem is the same. That now we are parenting the variable again, like though it's packed in the pre-comp, right? But still it's the base one. So we need to stop keeping the variable at the bottom. Like again, what we did is we parented the variable with the base. While we have to parent the base with the variable. So if I do this thing now, right? So basically the thing also thing is happening is that I'm getting the color of my base itself, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So if I have to make this thing work, I need to duplicate this one thing again and again with the base color keeping gets changed. So if I just like change the bit and I change the base color to maybe something anything else. let's say a blue. So now it works fine. And see, US, okay, I think I rendered that. But if I render this one thing now, it works fine. So the only thing is that we don't have to put the variable at the bottom.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So anybody have any question or anything else?
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. I'm just give me 1 second. Meanwhile, you can prepare the question or type in the chat. I'm just so sorry.
If you guys have any questions, you can type it out in the chat also till Rishabh is back.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm back.
No issues.
Yeah, I wanted to ask. So
Yes.
I work at Samsung. So what happens is like when we like put all the Lottie files in tri-item devices, right? So
Right.
gradients, colors, right? They seem to be washed out. We lose the vividness or the contrasting, tones of the colors. It looks a bit dull and washed out. So I wanted to understand what would be the reason for that.
Usually it doesn't happen to a lot of the extent, but it's like you see what we are seeing in After Effects, because After Effects is a raster tool, right? While Lottie is a vector tool, right? Because the best part of the Lottie is that you can scale it up to whatever extent that you want to like put up, or maybe you can like, shrink it down, right?
Yeah.
So that's the problem that is happening, because Lottie is considering your gradient color values as a vector one,
Okay.
while what you see in your After Effects preview is a rasterized one.
Yes.
So that's a part like when you can see a little bit of difference. But I think the gradient, most of the gradient should look the same way that we are making it in After Effects.
So in case we want to retain the scalability, like with respect to the gradient, so what would be the solution in that case? Like I want to scale up or scale down, gradient should retain in that case.
No, so that's what I'm saying. You can change the size of the everything that is remains the same.
Okay.
But I'm saying there's a slightly to some extent, like the variation that you are able to see,
Yeah.
only because of the change of the software and the platforms.
Okay.
Right? And also it's like if you see when I'm rendering this thing out as well, right here, you can see this the After Effect thing.
Yeah.
If I render out the eye variation, right? So you see there would be some limitation with it as well, because it would be like you see there's a warning issue. So this could work on the web and in the Android, but it's not supported with the Lottie, even the iOS.
iOS, yes.
So we also consider these options as well.
Okay.
While making the part, because you made such a beautiful animation here, right? But it's not supported to the iOS applications. So it's not like it's not giving you the full potential of what you are making, right?
True.
So when we are like working with the clients, we always ask them, okay, what are all the places that in which our animation will go out?
Yeah.
Accordingly, we set it up. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Hey Rishabh, hello.
Hi. Hi, Aman.
Yeah. Hi. So regarding the same question that Hiram was up to, is there a solution to if we wanted the same animation to work in iOS devices? Do we have any alternative to that, or should we just say a no to the client?
Not exactly like when it comes to the Lottie thing. So it's like Lottie script is also working like when you're working with the application now. So there's a script that a developer needs to import before putting the Lottie files, right, to run it up. So that's not within the capability of the script as well to make it work. So the other solution could be like you can use a video thing if possible. If that place can have a video, that might slightly increase the load on the
website
size end.
Size.
But that's the only way. That's the thing. right?
Okay. And there's one more way we can do it. I think I've tried it, but not sure it works every time. So maybe we can do the whole animation and export it as a PNG with the alpha, and then bring it back into After Effects as a PNG sequence, and then use it as a Lottie file.
Yes, that is a good option, but the size would be more again now.
Okay.
Like we are using Lottie just to bring up the optimization, right? And
Yes.
you see, the PNG that you are exporting can't go to a very higher end, right? That you have to still keep it under the 500 by 500 pixel ratio or maximum 700 by 700.
So I think compared to a video file, it will be lighter in that case.
But the quality loss would be there, right? Like the gradient look that you will get in video would not be same within the PNG. Like after you are converting it back into the Lottie and pushing it back into the your application.
True.
Yeah, please say.
Yeah, go on. You were saying something.
I was just saying that there's just a bit of the quality loss that happens. So yeah.
Okay. I had one more question. So we were discussing the pre-comp thing, like just previous to this. So can we try the continuously rasterize thing? Does that help with the masking?
No, that wouldn't help.
Right? That won't help?
No. So continuous rasterize thing, I'll do it right away for you as well. Just checking where that file went. Okay, here it is. So you see, continuous rasterize, what it does is basically, currently After Effects is considering this whole one pre-comp as one layer.
Yeah.
Rasterize, we are giving it like these are all our shape layers, right?
Different layers, yes.
If I'll do it on the both of them. So I'll just show and I'll tell you the reason why it wouldn't work. Oh, it does. Oh, okay. We have the structure is the same. Wait, let me just make it back to the original one. Like the original thing is हमारा trim path नीचे की तरफ है, and that's when we are putting up our base on top, right? So if I do it now, oh, I'm so sorry. So see, if you see, you will have the perfect gradient and stuff working here.
Yeah.
But when we consider the Lottie thing, it again have the issue. Even though it's continuously rasterized. Because the problem is not with the pre-comp and the rasterize, it's the structure that Lottie use. Right. That currently this pre-comp is also having a variability within the trim path. Right. So we wanted to restrict the trim path. We want to tell Lottie that we are not giving you a variable option, we are giving you a static one. Just play our animation on top of it with the limitation of the area with our base one. So if I change it up here, let's see, right? And I make my base as a hero, basically base is the hero, and it's parented with the trim path. So at this point, it will work well. If you see, if I just do it again, so it works fine. Basically, the problem is with the stroke appearing and not appearing.
Got it.
So yeah.
Okay.
And also, okay, any question that we have?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Perfect. I'll just move to next thing. Like, let's say in case you guys wanted to animate a logo for one of your client or something, right? So how you can do it effectively? That okay, this is one of my layer. Like it's basically the McDonald's, right? I added
Rishabh, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to keep update you on the time. So we just reached the 1 hour mark. So if we can start wrapping up from here and moving to the next topic. Thank you.
Perfect. I'll just take 10 to 15 minutes more. I think that would work.
Sure. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks. So quickly, I'll just show you this one version. That this is pretty simple only. We made the trim path here, right? And this is our McDonald's logo. So it works fine. And if we render it up again here, right? So it works pretty fine. Oh, sorry. Again, my bad. I have to change the Like, okay, so this was the thing that currently what we did is like we parented our trim path with the base layer. So it doesn't work in this way, right? We want to switch it up again to like our base layer, like the McDonald one, to be parented with the trim path. And then it can work pretty fine. Now you see. So this is how you can like animate your logo animations for client. I think this is the part I was wanted to cover with the Lottie animations, right? Next up is gradients and glows in After Effects, right? I'll just like quickly walk you through with what's inside this one, and yeah. So when I say about the gradient in After Effects, so it's like basically, oh, okay, I have to like create that. So you see, there's one. Okay, let me make a fresh new thing from the start. So when you're using gradient, so usually what we usually do is that if I have to make a gradient loop, right? Let's say I want this gradient to go from right to left and left to right continuously, right? So what I actually have to do is that I make, one second. What I usually have to do is that I duplicate this one file in a way that it is connected together, right? And I'll like just quickly do it. Parent the rest of the three with one, and yeah, I'll have to animate this one with the position thing to like this is a place when you wanted to give a like a background animation to happen, right? So it's like a lot of work for you because you can't control our speed. Like you can control the speed, but now if you want to change the color of this one version, now you have to change for every single one. So it restricts you with some of the capabilities that you can use generally have. So what we do is instead of using this one, we use a plugin that's in After Effects, and this topic is only for After Effects, like not for Lottie. This won't work with the Lottie things. So we use a plugin called Colorama. So we basically use a black and white version of it, right? We create a shape layer with black and white, and we add a Colorama layer on top of it. So you see, you get a very beautiful rainbow color within you with this one. So what it does is basically it's taking the intensity phase. So going from intensities higher at the white end and lower at the black end. So it's taking that one. And you see there's an output cycle. So there's already a gradient mapped here. So what is it is basically doing? So you see the left part of the circle is catering to the whiter, the brighter values. And it's going from whiter to dark one, right? So if I make it as a gray one, so you see it's similar to like what we like. If I remove the Claroma, it's the same. So the thing is here that you wanted to animate this gradient here, right? But you again want a control. So what we do, let's say a ramp red. So the initial point is the red and the end point is the black. So there's a phase shift thing like that's I'm just like just cutting out some of the things while making it quick fast. If I just rotate it up, right, it will move automatically. And even if I have to change anything in between, I can add even more new colors inside it. Let's make have a like a good decent color that pairs well with red. Okay, let's have a white for a second. And we make it a bright yellow. Okay. So if I just animate this, so I have a like a beautiful animation. Oh, out of my memory. I'm so sorry. So this also happens like when you don't have enough RAM or like things going on. So it just stops working. I'm so sorry for the issue, guys. Oh, it's not working anymore. Wait 1 second. Let me just reshare the screen actually. One second. this happens. Though I'm currently having a 24 GB of RAM with my system, but it happens as well. Because I'm so sorry, my laptop just went off. So
No issue.
yeah, crashing issue. So yeah, that's what it happened. So it's like you always remember, like when Adobe crashes, so it takes a lot of things away with it. I'm just starting the After Effects. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
But overall, like that's the gist that you can use this thing like the Colorama one within your project. So that works pretty fine usually. Okay, I'll just share the screen quickly and yeah. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, it's the After Effects one, right?
Yeah, After Effects, correct.
Yes.
So instead of like using like this one, we use a Colorama technique to work around it. I'll just give you like a quick one more example to it. Yeah. Okay, so Colorama is the same. Like, so let's say you want to add a new one here, right? And just like quickly do it this time. We just have to like change the colors to the gray tone, and yeah, it's good to go. You guys can see the After Effects, correct? I'm just like checking once.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I'm just like bringing up one of a circle, like a square from Illustrator. And what I do, I'll just like map all of that part with the Colorama one. Okay. So now I have a one of a like a square box with me. And if I just like make the phase shift to some extent, let's say by 100. So it basically animates it as well. And because, okay, let's remove the sharp issue, sharp edges from here. So deep edges is same across another topic real quick. So let's say you want to see lines are same on top of a line, right? So it's like it's the base setting that we I'm currently having the radius 500 and exposure 1. But what if you add a a black patch on top of it with the opacity 72 or maybe a lesser? So what it exactly is doing, because the background is also the same color, it's making this part to be less glowy, right? So that's why I'm getting a very thinner edge. Like that's the original edge that I have with this the stroke. But this is how it's like helping me to get a beautiful result. But if I have to like make the same thing by using like a taper stroke or something, I might have to like tweak a lot of settings altogether, right? But with this technique, you can always have a taper thing with a more flexible control on in your project. Along with it, if you have to like move around this thing here and there, you can also do it. So that's one of a gradient technique that I often use in my projects. So yeah, you can see the difference pretty well in both of the lines at the moment. That one looks very diversified and dynamic, while the top upper one Nikhil, I'll just like take 5 more minutes and I'll wrap it up.
Yeah, that's okay.
Perfect. Sounds good. Okay. So okay. Oh, one second. Like I was not prepared about this. Honestly, like my laptop getting crashed in the middle of a thing.
It's okay.
So
Like someone said, it is the most relatable part.
yeah, true. But thanks everyone for like being patient with it while I'm like, just fixing things. So yeah, thanks so much.
Sure.
All right, I think you guys can see the After Effects, the slides again. So it's like we have just covered the gradient and glows in After Effects. So next is optimizing your flow, right? So optimizing, like what I usually do, this is like a very quick thing. I'll go through. So when I talk about optimization, so basically you create presets and plugins, like basically presets of the thing that you usually use on a daily basis. What I mean by this, you guys can see the After Effects again, I hope.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's say, like, okay, I use TrimPath a lot on my daily basis, right? So instead of like every time clicking on this, clicking on the top add like trim path and like then setting up the values again for every time, what I did, I made a preset. So I can like basically I'm using a FX console thing with me. So I press control plus spacebar to like pull that thing up, and I just type 24. So I have trim bar 24F. So 24F means for 24 frames. I click on it, I have my ready animation done. Like at least the base one. I can tweak the parameters, the keyframes, and how it's coming up, even like how I wanted to do it. But this is like a quick fix that I did. So it is basically helping me to like optimize my workflow on daily basis. And similarly, and I'll showcase you how you can make one on this one. I also made a preset. Let's say I bring up I just like text hello everyone, right? And I wanted to add a like animation, like a text animation on top of it. So instead of again going to effects and presets for everything, I have already made a preset that's known for position 30. So it's like typewriter position 30. What it does is basically it brings my reveals the text from -30 position to top, right? So it's like a lot of like you have to go under a lot of advanced techniques and like have to set every time the same thing like the smoothness and stuff. You have to bring in the position parameters again from this part, add a position keyframe, and then it works. So instead of doing that, I just made this one plugin with me, the preset basically. I just like and I just simply use that thing. I'll just like turn off this one once. So I just like use this for every time, for everyday thing, right? So just brings like a better control on my end, right? When I'm having a multiple text animation, I'll showcase you how you can make a path animation, and you can like the path animation preset, and you can do the same thing again with the text one. Like the structure remains the same every time. So I'll just quickly do that thing. Give me just 1 second, and I'll also like turn on my camera. Perfect. You guys can see me, right? So to do that on the trim path, so of course you have to make it once at least, right? So what I did is that we click on go on the top, we add a trim path, right? And we make a one trim path like for the start. Like consider you are making it for the first time. So we added 0 to 100 animation, right? And I also want to like I also add a start thing as well, though I don't usually like add it in every time, but it's like you can always like remove the that plugins or the keyframes rather than creating it every time. So now I get the same thing again. So what I do now, I click on the trim path while connect like selecting the keyframes. We go on the top area of the effects and presets. We click on it. We click on save animation preset. I think you might not be able to see the whole screen. Let me just like share the whole screen with you guys, so you can see the pop-up as well. Right. So at this point, when I click on the top right area and click on save animation preset, you get a like a big library of what you have done so far. So I'm just like typing like trim path 30F maybe. Like I'm just like doing a one and save it up. So it will be there in my animation preset, right? And if I have to ever wanted to like use it again, uh, let's say for a quick test, right? And if I just drag and drop this one, so I get my animation done right away. I don't have to like go back to those keyframes and again to get this thing done. And this won't be available in FX Control right away because it's not because FX Control takes information from the previously started After Effects part. So basically, it's like refreshed right now. So that's why you can access it from effects and presets. But if you want to put the same thing in FX Console, you have to like restart it once. So that's the end of the thing itself. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions or something on this. Happy to answer.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, we can maybe take a couple of questions because okay, we're over time. So yeah, you guys can unmute or text in the chat box.
I don't have any questions, but thank you for the session. This was like very insightful.
Thank you so much, Shiva. I'm glad you guys can guys join and yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Anyone have any doubts or something?
I guess we can wrap up. Then I guess most of the questions got covered in the during the session only.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is my
Cool.
I think
audio?
sounds good.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, guys.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, Rishabh, just wanted to thank you so much for doing this. We've had Lottie sessions before, but this is the first time we've gone into detail. So, and I'm sure everyone's benefited greatly from this session. So thank you so much. And we're very honored that this was your first time doing an online session and it was with us. So thank you so much.
like reach out to you sometime when I get like when I'm ever working on a LottieFile like a project, because I actually had an inquiry recently for adapts and LottieFiles and stuff, and I had no clue, and then I was like, "Ye session to attend karna hai, boss." And but actually now when things come up, and if I ever need your help, I'm just sure to reach out.
Please feel free to
Probably we could work together also.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Even we also for Nikhil and Aishwarya, we also have worked with on a different project in post office before as well. Like a good yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining me, Bob. Love to see you here.
Thank you. It was a nice session. It was very insightful.
Okay.
Yeah, of course it was.
I did it well because it's my very first time.
You've done it very well.
Until
I mean, a lot of things I've learned today, honestly, because this was like a new thing for me. Like, I only heard about it. I know about it, like, okay, there is something in LottieFiles, what are the uses, benefits, and all of that. But I've never actually done it on a project, or I've never actually even downloaded that plugin. Although I feel like I should, because that is what the market needs these days. But like I've not taken that step yet. But this was my first introduction to Lottie, and I think I mean, you made it feel a little comfortable.
Thanks.
Because otherwise it just feels a little daunting. Okay, something new. Okay, again technical. Again,
yeah.
But it was fine. I mean, and
yeah. It's like majority things are same as what we do in After Effects. It's just like few things and stuff. That's different.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I could at least help you to get the fear out of the Lottie thing. So yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Shiva.
Guys. See you. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rishabh, again for taking us through so patiently, despite all the crashes and all of this also.
Yeah, but thanks so much for giving me the opportunity. I'm really happy to that I did this.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, again, thanks so much for taking us through. It was great, and yeah, we'll stay in touch. And yeah, I'll just conclude and wrap up now. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rishabh.
Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend.
All right. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Ashwin.